this show is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. And they have something new going on this time, Deke, because we know it's the big game this weekend. Y'all know we can't say the big game. We got to go to the big game. You know the game I'm talking about this weekend, the big one with the team from LA and the team from Cincinnati. You know them two teams we talking about, right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, what DraftKings Sportsbook is doing for all of the first-time users out there, baby. If you use the promo code MOATS, like it always is, on this bet this week for the big game, 56-1 odds, okay? So you got the team from LA, you got the team from Cincinnati. Put your money down on one of them, okay? 56-1 odds. So essentially, a $5 bet will win you up to $280 in free bets. Now, this is the kicker with this, right? So to break it down for you, you put your $5 in on the LA team, right? You're like, I like the LA team. They got a kid, from Pennsylvania that I happen to like a lot. All right, we win the bet. Boom, we get that 280. From there, you take that 280, and now you can use that to bet on anything and everything you want right on DraftKings Sportsbook. So
great deal.
Stop wasting time, bro. It is a great.
Can I say this about DraftKings?
Talk about
it,
bro. Absolutely.
I really don't like betting hockey, but and one of the reasons is a lot of these betting apps don't have nice same game parlays that you can use. They won't allow it. I go to DraftKings. They have some really nice ones, and I really appreciate what they're doing with the hockey betting.
Let's get it, man. Let's get it. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to put money on the big game, get your 56-1 odds. Or if you want to put money on the ice, baby, either way, use that promo code MOATS. But, Deke, we also know that at times, some people have a little bit of a problem.
Yeah.
We know at times, Deke, some people can overdo it.
With the big game coming up, I could see that happening. So many props.
It is the big
So many
game.
parlays you could be doing.
It is the big game. So with that being said, with the big game, I got to do it like this, okay? Because if you know someone, or if you happen to have a gambling problem, crisis counseling, or you might need referral services, well, Deke, I got to tell you, you got two things you got to do. First off, you need to dial 877-8-HOPE-NY, okay? For my New Yorkers out there, 877-8-HOPE-NY. But for everybody else that's not living in New York, y'all know what y'all need to call. Y'all need to call 1-800-GAMBLER. I say, you need to call 1-800-GAMBLER. Next on the list, Sam Howell.
Dude, low-key, I actually thought he played pretty good. Low-key, I'm not going to lie. His problem was the ball security and fumbling.
Fumbled twice?
Yeah, his line was not doing him any favors.
Nah.
They were getting torched.
It was bad, bro.
I thought he stood tough in the pocket, though. Mm-hmm. Delivered some nice passes. Had some pop in the arm, too, actually. For being that small, we compare him to Baker. Dude,
I know. I'm laughing because it's the truth.
He wasn't bad, man.
Oh, man.
I know he was like our ACC rival in a sense, or you were comparing him to Pickett, who's the better quarterback and stuff. And I was ripping on Howell throughout the season because I do still think Pickett's better. But maybe it's because the expectations were low. I was actually kind of impressed by Howell. Some of the RPOs he was doing, the scrambling. Yeah. He was showing some athleticism. Yeah, I liked what I saw from Howell, actually. I don't know to draft him in the first round. I already told you that. I don't really want to draft any of these QBs outside of Willis or Pickett in the first. But all right. I'm seeing some stuff from Howell there.
I'll say that. Are you finished?
Yeah.
So, man, Howell, shout out to him, man, because he was definitely under fire.
There was a drop, too.
Yeah, but he was under fire a lot. I thought that once that, because he came in right after Malik, and even Malik dealt with some of this as well. That unit, their O-line, and this is what we both said, like, man, I know y'all saying this is a deep class, but, man, some of them O-linemen look bad. Now,
all seniors, maybe there's some juniors.
Maybe that's what it is. I'm hoping that's what it is, because Malik was running for his life at some times. Early on with Sam, I was like, yo, I can't evaluate him because he's under duress. It's like, man, he's not dropping back straight. He's having to dodge this guy, step up. And I'm like, okay, I could critique him and say he needs to see this receiver faster. But when these D linemen are coming up on him like that, like, how can I fault him at the same time? So with him, I would say this, man, I thought that his toughness was the first thing that showed up. I love the toughness from him. That was one of the things that, even though we keep doing the comparisons, that is one of the parts that reminded me of Baker, in the sense of we've seen Baker get hit. We've seen Baker have some bad times, but the one thing for Baker is this: he going to show up. He going to be talking. He going to show up. But that's his thing. That's what makes him tough. And I thought for Sam, he definitely displayed that even when things weren't going well, when he was getting sacked and he had the fumble, like he still looked like he believed. Another thing that I thought that I continue to like about Sam is his mechanics. I like his mechanics a lot. I think that
maybe there was a reason he was supposed to be the number one pick.
Like Sam Howell and honestly the other guy, Bailey Zappi, I think both of those guys' mechanics, like just the consistency of it, every throw, like I really enjoy watching that with those guys. But Sam, man, I thought on his play action pass, because that was something that we don't necessarily see a lot of on tape when you're watching them in college, because it was spread. You get to see him roll out. And I thought that he did have good mechanics in terms of not just good depth on the rollout, but also getting his shoulders north and south, getting his body coming back downhill on some of those throws. And that's the difference between you being accurate coming downhill versus when your shoulders are still facing this, when you're trying to throw it across your body, you have way more movement with the ball. And as a defender, it's a lot easier for us to get PBUs, interceptions, because now that accuracy isn't where it needs to be. But when you watch Sam, in particular in this game right here, I thought that he was definitely really locked in to the fundamentals of that. I thought that the arm strength was on display, like you talked about as well. And I also thought that in his little pseudo 2-minute drill, I thought at the beginning of it, it started out really nice. I thought he had I thought he did a good job using his arms and legs to escape some of the pressure. I thought as a whole, even though Malik,
you're right, the 2-minute drive, I even wrote that down. I was like, this is going well. Man. Did he fumble on that one? Is that what happened?
At the end, he got sacked again.
And they rushed the field goal unit out. Is that what the
and they kicked the 48-yard or whatever. Yeah. But for me, when I watched him, I said, even though I thought Malik was definitely the more exciting runner, I thought that Sam was more effective in using it because he used it to help his O-line.
He did some RPOs.
Because think about it, his O-line was getting cooked. And early on, when they first tried to come in and have him do some traditional drop back stuff, he wasn't having no time. So what did they do? They started to roll him out, move the pocket around. And from there, he was able to use his arm and legs. He would scramble a 5-yard run, but it would keep him on track. And for me, I kept saying to myself as a defender, I would be so pissed playing against him because I'm like, man, it's nothing worse where you feel like everything is set and this guy is just getting these leaky yards, 5 yards here, 6 yards here, 3 yards here, because at the end it adds up and he was keeping those drives going. But that is something that for him, I definitely liked about him. Now, we could say this with every quarterback in terms of pressure affecting him. I just felt like one of the issues you have with shorter quarterbacks, though, is you can't necessarily see things as fast. So short quarterback, O-line questionable, he struggled with that. And that's what he had to go to the RPOs, moving the pocket for him. What do we currently have right now? O-line that's in question. So that was the thing where I'm just comparing. I'm like, man, him, what did he struggle with? Our O-line, would it be different? That's the part that makes me a little bit hesitant with Sam. But I did think that Sam did play a good game. I thought that, man, like I said, his just knowing and utilizing his legs to negate the rush, I definitely like that a lot. I thought he was just smart with that.
I'm with you. Maybe I should have him higher up on my board.
Bro, and can I say, I thought he was a little deceptively fast.
He was. It's like he scored a touchdown,
he was low-key sneaky fast. Yeah. I'm like, bro, wait a minute.
If anything, it sounds like we're complimenting him more than anyone else.
I know. But I think we're complimenting him more so because we were a little bit lower on him compared to Pickett and Willis.
Maybe.
Pickett and Willis, we both kind of like, all right, they've separated a little bit. Whereas with Sam, it was like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about him. But yeah, I definitely thought he looked good, man.
Us drafting him, I'm like,
we both ain't like that.
Hell no. You know what, though? I still don't like the measurables as much. I don't like the thought of him being like Baker. Could he be a better version of Baker? That's different.
That was
I don't
the part
know,
for me that I was trying to figure out because I definitely thought that he was a better runner than Baker. Baker doesn't escape in play action pass. He's not going to be able to get you those 5 seconds. Baker gets caught a lot. When you watch him, when he's trying to escape the pocket with his legs, he gets caught a lot.
No.
Absolutely. I thought with Sam,
he had over 800 yards last year.
No, this is the thing. Like he was right with Malik. Yeah. And this is the thing with Sam. Sam is deceptively fast, but he's also a strong runner. You watch him, he's not going down off a ton of arm tackles.
Damn,
you watch him.
We need to move him up our board, dude.
Like I said, that's my only thing. It's like it's the Senior Bowl. So I took it in context, but was it a good, really good performance for him? Yes, because it showed things that we didn't see on his UNC tape. You're not going to see necessarily to the extent of some of the things that he had to do because of the quality of talent that was around him, both for him and against him. I just thought that it put him in positions that it showed me some stuff that definitely makes me want to go and look into him a lot more now. But I don't think we're considering him at 20, if that makes sense too. Like, I think Malik, I think Kenny, they're definitely in play a lot more at 20. I personally haven't got to that point for Sam just yet. Because for me, like I said, if it's a short quarter,
we got to grind the tapes. Yeah, he's not going to do anything from now till then, because it's just going to be combine and pro day. Yeah, what's going to change?
Right, and I don't think he's going to test better than Malik.
We might need to do like a deep dive on him. Look back on his 2020 season, then 2021.
That's what I want to do.
Because how do you go from top 3, top 5 prospect, probably number 1 overall pick?
From what I've just my brief tape, the talent. It was different. You lose both of your running backs. I think he lost one of the receivers as well. It's like that hurt him in a big way going into this last season. But then at the same time, based on the little bit that I watched in terms of his tapes from this season, it looked as if he was trying to do the hero stuff because he had the expectation to be in a top pick, because he had Heisman aspirations. He wanted to come out here and do the above and beyond. And I just think that he did a little bit too much. Very similar
Marino situation.
Or even in the sense of what we talked about with Mahomes earlier in the year. It was like, man, early in the season, what do we say with Mahomes? He was trying to do too much, taking too many risks, holding onto the ball too often. It's like, yo, you don't have to do that. Like, trust your teammates. I just felt like at times Sam didn't necessarily trust those guys, but that's why for me, like I said, I'm going to go back and watch it even more because what he did in his game, it intrigued me.
Yeah, for sure.
It did. I mean, as weird as it is, right? It definitely did.
Yeah, because what would happen with Marino, though, back at Pitt, he was a stud first 3 years, absolute stud. And going into his senior year, same thing. Number 1 overall pick, best Q. I mean, it was between him and Elway. I'm guessing going back, but I mean, Heisman for Marino, all this stuff, and he had a terrible senior year. Like it was probably his worst year. So that kind of why it tanked the stock. I know there was some of the off-field stuff that people were spreading rumors about, but no, man. Maybe it's a similar scenario for Howell. Maybe.